What's up, PhD friends? It's been a minute since we had these full videos, so I'm so excited to get back to doing these full videos. Today, I'm interviewing Dr. Anna Clemens, and we're talking about her writing coach business and how she got there. And there were so many parallels as I was talking to Anna, so many parallels between her life and my life and where we are in our careers right now. And it reminded me of the fact that your career path can be non-linear. Most of us have been taught, you go from your bachelor's to your master's to a PhD, or maybe you went from a bachelor's straight into a PhD, and then this is the next step, a postdoc is the next step, and that's the next step. But your career doesn't always have to be so linear. There can be twists and there can be turns. But eventually, right, if you do a lot of self-introspection, learning what you like, learning what you don't like, you will end up on the right path. Before we get into the interview, let me talk about a new free resource I created. It's 34 non-academic careers for PhDs. Yes, if you're a master's person, a master's prepared individual, yes, you can check this document out because I think a lot of the jobs on there could apply to you as well. So go ahead to this link right here and go and download it. Let's get right into the interview. Hello, Anna. I'm so excited to have you on The Bold PhD, where we talk to PhDs like yourself who are doing something other than being in academia. I know you have, even though you don't work directly in academia, you work with academics. So we're going to talk about that. But give us a little bit of your educational background.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very, very excited to be here. My educational background is in chemistry. So I studied chemistry in university, then went on to do a PhD in chemistry. And this is where my education ended. So I basically stopped my academic career after my PhD, after I graduated.
Wow. So right after, you didn't do a postdoc or anything. You just ended it there.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why did you stop with it?
It's a very good question because I really enjoyed academia. I enjoyed doing a PhD. I enjoyed research a lot. I enjoyed writing, which we're going to talk about more later. But what I really realized, I didn't have the easiest time during my PhD. I had some problems with my supervision, and it was very tedious. And I was just very, very glad when I finished everything. I could talk about this there is a very long story to this. Kind of the short story is that while there were so many tedious things, that writing really was a bit of my refuge where I went to, because that was something that was working and where I would get good feedback. I felt really wow, this is I feel accomplished because I've wrote 2-3 pages for my PhD thesis or for my paper. I've wrote, a paragraph or whatnot. It was all these little accomplishments that really helped me feel good about my PhD again. But it was very clear to me that, well, no, it wasn't very clear to me that I didn't want to continue, but it was, I kind of wanted to give myself a little bit of time to think about it. So I didn't want to jump into the next thing. So actually, I didn't have anything lined up after I stopped, after I graduated. So I really allowed myself a bit of time for reflection. And in that time, I was just looking around for jobs. I was trying to understand, do I want to pursue academia? Do I want to pursue something else? What are my passions? Things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's so interesting because when, maybe up until that point, your vision was oh, you were probably really excited to get a chemistry PhD, hopefully go into an academic position. At least that's how I felt. I was oh, this is exciting. When I'm done, I'm going to go into an academic position. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be nice to teach students and all that. And then you get to the end and you realize you're a little bit disillusioned and you're not sure where to go. So as you described that, I completely identify with this. I completely identify because towards the end of my PhD, I also began to question, is this what I really want to do? I knew I didn't want to be a researcher. And so that's nice. And I think there are a lot of people that go through that, but sometimes are not sure how to put their feelings into words, or may feel guilty about, all of this education has been given to me. What am I doing? Am I throwing away my education? So what made you, how did you said you were kind of exploring for a while. So how did you settle on your current career path? And actually, can you describe what your current career path is?
Yeah. I'll start with that. So now I am an academic writing coach, and I have founded an online program for researchers where I teach a very structured process to write quality papers and to write them time efficiently. So my program is called the Researchers Writing Academy, if you want to look it up. And it's so funny because it's such a long-winded path to that point. So I graduated in, let me think, 2015. And now we have 2023. It's unbelievable. So in these years, I have, so I started with thinking, okay, what are my passions? what do I want to do? What did I like? Like, I really reflected on my PhD. I mean, it was so clear to me. It was writing, basically. I love writing. And I was like, okay, I love writing. I love science too. So I was just looking for jobs. Like, I was just going on Indeed, or other job search platforms, and just looking, putting in some keywords that made sense, that kind of combined the two, and was just looking for jobs. So I would apply to jobs, even jobs I would never get, like senior editors, at popular science magazines, for example, things like that. But I just wanted to understand, what is the industry like? I feel like you learn a lot through job ads, actually. Just to see, okay, what jobs are there? Because when you are in academia, you kind of, I feel like you're very blind. You're in this tunnel, right? And you don't learn so much about the outside world. So I did that, and I would start freelancing. So I did a lot of gigs, a lot of freelance gigs, editing, writing. Oh, that's my dog in the background. Editing, writing, anything I could get my hands on. I would write short little news pieces about new scientific discoveries, for example, for a website. I had ghostwritten a report for a research group. I would edit scientific papers. I would do all sorts of things. And then I was like, okay, I think I want to become a writer, a journalist, essentially. So I went and applied for an internship at Scientific American. So that was the German version of Scientific American, because I'm German originally, so I can write in German as well. And that was successful. And so I worked there for 6 months, kind of learning a lot about journalism, a lot about how a popular science print magazine, and also actually online, how they are produced, how you I learned a lot about writing. And when that's finished, I was like, actually, I think I liked being a freelancer. I liked having that freedom about my time and my deciding what work I do. So I freelanced a little bit and wrote basically for publications of that publishing house a lot, did some other work for them as a freelancer. And that was a lot of fun, but it kind of also became clear to me, it's a very, very hard life to be a freelance journalist in this day and age. Unfortunately, there's this thing about our society, I feel, that we don't value writing enough, and monetarily, I think. We kind of expect writing, at least okay, you can earn a lot of money if you were a copywriter, for example. Companies value that, but if it's anything to do with marketing and stuff, yes, you can get paid. But if you want to do journalism, it's not very well paid, and this is what I learned.
Yeah. And I think, even now with the new AI bots that are out, I I've tested a lot of the AI tools, and I realized that they still have a long way to go, but I can also see how it's going to make people undervalue writing even more, because, like, oh, we can just put a prompt into an AI bot and it's going to write for you. But you and I both know that writing is much, much more than that. But anyway, I'll let you continue.
Yeah, such a good point. I've been thinking about those AI bots recently as well, because people ask me like, can you write papers with that? And I'm like, well, you can, but I don't think you would want to. There's so much more that goes into writing a paper. It's not about, I don't know, just putting sentences next to each other. Like, and this is kind of a bit how I teach writing. It's very like in a very like the process to how can we take your ideas, your results, and put those into like a well-written, well-structured paper. And I can't see that like that a bot could
maybe eventually, you never know, Anna, maybe eventually it may, but I think that in their current state, like you said, like they put a lot of because I prompted various AIs, not just one. There's the popular one, which is the Chat GPT. That's free. But I also have Copy AI, and I've been testing them. And like sometimes they're just putting words together, and you're so right. Like you have to. There is a skill to putting words together coherently and in a well-structured format that actually ends up making more sense. You can do so much with these tools. Definitely, they can help you like brainstorm and all that. But I think we're maybe, I don't know how far we are out from them taking over the jobs, but but we'll see. So you loved writing, you were freelancing, and that's sort of a little bit like my story too. It's so interesting. Yeah, because I also started out freelancing. I on the other hand, did a postdoc for like almost 3 years because I didn't know what to do. I don't recommend doing that. If you don't know what to do, don't just take something just because you don't know what to do. Yeah. But after I got kicked out from that job, not because funding ran out, so we were all like let go. I was like, well, maybe I should give this freelance writing a spin and see. And you did the same thing, and then you landed on becoming a writing coach, which is really amazing, helping academics put their papers together in a well-structured manner. Now, the question I have for you, Anna, is for somebody that may be in a similar place, right, to you, where you and I were a few years ago. Did you say you finished in 2015? Because I also finished in 2015.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's so funny. So many parallels.
We're living parallel lives here. So yeah. I also defended my dissertation in 2015. So from 2015 till now. So somebody that is in 2023 is about to finish a PhD, and they're like, I don't know what to do. And maybe they may be considering writing, or they may be considering entrepreneurship, which is basically what you are doing. What would you tell that person? What would you tell 2015, 2016 Anna?
I think my biggest advice is really trying to find out what you like doing and like what comes easy to you. Because I think we sometimes try to put ourselves into structures, into boxes. We try to fit. And I would really encourage you, think about what you're good at, what comes easy to you, like what's fun, what doesn't even feel like work. I mean, it doesn't have to be like your biggest passion, like it doesn't have to be, you don't have to make your hobby your work. I don't mean that. I just mean I can't put it any better than what comes easy to you. And go from there and try to go inside you and try to really find out what would be something you would like to do. And if you don't know, then I would say start somewhere. Like, because I didn't become a writing coach a month after I graduated. Though it took me a few years, to try different things, go down some routes, just test it out. I mean, I thought I wanted to become a journalist, and I did it, and I invested quite a lot into that. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna I need to adjust this path a little bit because I got some new information. And just allowing yourself to be on a journey a little bit, I think that would be my biggest advice. And then, try to gather information, talk to people, network. or what I did, look at Indeed or other like job searching sites, see what's out there with what you think you want to do. Because one thing I can promise you is that there will be so many more job titles than you can even imagine existing. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, I would say everything is possible as well. Like, I mean, when it comes to entrepreneurship, really everything is possible. You can build the business that you want. And this is something that I would take to heart, because I had specific requirements for how I wanted my business, for what I wanted my business to look like. And just because, I don't know, people tell you, oh, a startup has to look this and this way. You have to take external funding. You have to, I don't know, build a big team. Whatever there is that you think you have to do, like question it and think, okay, do I really want to do it? And just do things that you feel like, oh, I think this is something that actually suits me.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good points. I want to first of all touch on you said a few things. Number one was read job descriptions. I tell people this all the time, that go and don't just read job descriptions because you're applying for a job. Go read job descriptions just as a form of research, because you will learn just so much of what is being asked for in the current job market. And another thing you said was, go on a little bit of self-exploration and introspect, right? And I think that that's really important, because for me, I remember I had gone from degree to degree to degree, and you keep going and you don't even pause. It's almost like you're running this like marathon, forever marathon, 15-year marathon, right? You're just running and running, and you've not stopped to think, wait, what do I actually like? Who am I? Like, do I really want to become a researcher? Do I really want to teach? Do I really want to, like you? And for me too, writing was that I ended up in medical communications. What do I want to do? And it took a while for me to get there. And we're not really taught that in graduate school. And I don't think I never went through that experience or had anybody tell me, do that exercise. But I think that's so crucial. And I'm so grateful that you brought that up. And then, of course, you brought in networking. So thank you so much for sharing that, because I think that, and then the other thing you said that was intriguing was build the business that you want. If you want to go on this entrepreneurship route, build the business that you want. I've had the privilege of talking to academics like you, Anna, who are full-time entrepreneurs, and they have their own story and they have how they built it. And then there are people that I've talked to that are academics and they work in academia, but they have a business on the side. And they don't even say it's on the side anymore. They say they do it concurrently, because the business is making almost just as much or even more than the academic jobs, right? So whichever way you want to build a business, whether it's full-time or as a side business or as a co-career, it's possible, especially with the tools that we have today all around the world, really, And so thank you so much for sharing that. And so as a writing coach, and for the person that may be watching this and wants to work with you, Anna, where will they find you?
So you can find me on annaclemens.com. And my program is called the Researchers Writing Academy. So you can also put that in and you'll probably find it. Sorry, my dog's trying to make this chair more comfortable.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It just makes, you see, there was this one time I was interviewing somebody and there was a child in the background. And I was like, if my child is going to school, so you don't see him. But if he was here, he would probably be like in the background or trying to signal my husband to like keep him in the room. So do not worry.
I'm just glad she's making noises, because sometimes at this time of the day, she would roll around on the floor growling.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right. So annaclemens.com. And I have a free training. So I have like a 1 hour-ish free training that if you're interested in getting help with writing papers, like if you feel like you procrastinate, like there has to be a better way, like I wish there was I had a system, I knew a process, or if you can't get into high impact factor journals, or in your target journals, whatever the impact factor is, then this training is really, really, I think, the best first step for you. And you'll find it on my website, or if you go annaclemens.com/training, and you'll get there.
Wonderful.
I could also, I mean, Twitter, you can also find me. I'm quite active there, at Scientists Right.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to leave all those links and all those handles in the description. Also, I'll probably leave some on the screen here. So if you are, you need some help with your writing, getting your papers into the right journals, and so on and so forth, Anna is the person to work with. Thank you so much, Anna, for chatting with me.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's been lovely.